Good afternoon. This is Sally, one of your three crones and a microphone, here on a little solo venture of mine. I decided to start recording the blogs that I was writing because my sister-in-law told me it was really difficult for her to read the blogs. She's having some problems with her eyesight as she's getting older, and it was challenging to get on the website, to figure out how to get on the website, to find the blogs on the website, and to read the blogs. So I'm launching out on an attempt to sort of read and talk about the blogs that are on the website in these little shorts, hoping that helps people that would rather listen to what we're saying than to get on the website and read what's happening. So the most recent blog was called A Banquet for Your Hummers, or Welcoming in Your Joy-Filled Hummingbirds. Personally, I love hummingbirds, so it was fun to read about this and do a little writing. Question: how are you feeding your hummingbirds? Some of us love to plant flowers. We're real garden folks, and we do that because we enjoy it. We want to eat the food that comes from it. We also want to attract those bees and hummers to our yards. Sometimes we do hummingbird feeders. When I was working, I often would put one of those little hummingbird feeders that you can hook onto a window so I could see the hummingbirds during the day when I was working. Lots of people like to do both. They like to plant flowers that attract the bees and the hummingbirds, and they also like to feed them in hummingbird feeders. You can Google a whole range of recipes for making your own hummingbird nectar and read lots of things about the pros and cons of how much sugar to use. Do you make your own nectar? Do you buy it pre-made in a store? Do you use the clear with no red dye, or do you use the red dye? How does that affect your hummingbirds? So after a lot of research, I landed back on what I had always done, using just pure white granulated sugar with the best ratio of 1 part granulated sugar to 4 parts water. Isn't it nice if we have spring water, but tap water works just as well? I thought it was kind of fun to read on and discover that what I had always been doing was actually kind of the best practice for how to feed your hummingbirds. Remember that hummingbirds are specialized nectivores that feed on dilute solutions of sugar with trace amounts of amino acid and electrolytes, and that's naturally found in the nectar of a lot of plants. If you find yourself using honey, or maybe you use caro syrup, concentrated type of sugar, or some other type of sugar, what I did discover is please don't do that, because these sugars can cause rapid fermentation and mold growth faster than those solutions that are made from regular granulated sugar. And this mold or fungus that can grow both in the nectar that you're feeding as well as in the hummingbird feeder that you might be feeding it in. And it gives the hummingbirds a fatal tongue infection that can actually result in their death. So please don't do that. The ratio that I use approximates the concentrations found in the nectar of wildflowers that hummingbirds prefer, and the guidelines and every site that I wrote was pretty much the same. Make sure your feeders clean thoroughly before adding new solution. Boil about a cup of water. Stir 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar into that 1 cup of water, or use a ratio if you're making large batches of hummingbird food. Stir until the sugar dissolves. Cool, filling your hummingbird feeder, and serve. And remember, any leftover nectar can be stored in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks and still safe to use with your hummers. This high concentration is important to replenish energy reserves, particularly after the hummingbirds migrate, and to fuel the territorial exploits of males and nesting activities of females. Once hummingbirds have been attracted to your rich sugar solution for 2 or 3 weeks, it is possible to lower that concentration and still provide sufficient energy. And also by that time, the flowers in your yard may begin to start blooming if you have some early bloomers, and they'll go back and forth then between the flowers in your yard and the hummingbird feeders. The other thing that I think is great fun is I love watching the hummers feed at the hummingbird feeders and chase each other off, dancing back and forth to the feeder and eating and flying off again. It's actually great fun if you like to sit and kind of meditate and just kind of link with sitting outside, or maybe you're sitting outside and looking through your window. It is true on the website that I provided a link for watching hummingbirds fight for nectar. It came through BBC Earth, and it's called Male Hummingbirds Fight for Nectar. It's just a two-minute short that you can find on YouTube. If you're a planter, some of the plants that you might want to include in your garden, well, what are they? You might have favorite flowers or bushes that you like to plant, and while I'm not a master gardener, I do know there are some plants that are great for attracting hummingbirds. But rule of thumb, plant native species to attract the birds for your area. Consider planting, if you love to plant, nectar-rich flowers such as bee balm, garden phlox, red columbine, bougainvillea, trumpet vine, firebrush, blue asters, echinacea, hummingbird mint, allium, lobelia, catmint, and the whole range of salvias. Of course, any plant with bright, flashy colors and a tubular shape for its blossom, or plants that are fast in and fast out for hummingbirds, and it'll attract those birds because they're easy for them to fly in, get some of that nectar, and fly out again. And of course, they're also great for attracting bees. So also on the blog, if you do choose to check in with the blog, there are some websites that are great resources that you can use, both for finding flowers and just resources that are great for checking in and learning more about those hummingbirds. So thanks for listening, and I look forward to the next time that I join in with you.